Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Sweet Spot. This is your host, Ryan Embry. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a fantastic episode for you today, continuing our TMG Hospitality Trailblazers series. If this is your first, fifth, or 15th episode in this series, it's all about the people and management companies that are pushing and moving our industry forward, the industry that we love so much. We've got a great example and guest with me to share his story and the management company that is recognized as an industry leader. We're going to talk a lot about that today, but let me bring him in. Without further ado, Joe Grieco, Executive VP of Development at Gibson Hospitality Ventures. Joe, thank you so much for joining me on the Sweet Spot.
Thank you, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be here. I love listening to your podcast and all the other guests you've had on in the past, and quite an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we're really excited to talk about, Gibson Hospitality Ventures. You guys have a lot of exciting things happening right now at your organization. But before we get into that too much, we love to start these episodes with just a little bit of hospitality background, the journey that led you to Gibson Hospitality Ventures and your experience so far.
Sure. So I actually started on the food and beverage side. Grew up in a big Italian family where everything was always centered around the dining table. So, uh,
Sure.
um, you know, the restaurant industry was always a passion of mine growing up, and I started as a dishwasher in the kitchen. Quickly learned that I wasn't cut out for the back of the house. Enjoyed the front of the house a lot more. So I went off and worked my way around to bartending, serving, managing various restaurants. My first kind of crossover position was doing room service for a Hilton in downtown Knoxville, and it was a lot of fun. Had a blast down there. Worked with a great group of people. But from there, I realized the restaurant industry was always a passion of mine, and I met a gentleman when I was at the hotel restaurant program at UT, and the two of us went and opened a restaurant in downtown Knoxville back in 2002. I was 24 years old and very young, but we went off and started our first venture down there. So had a great time. The restaurant was called Pasta Trio. We were there for about 7-8 years in downtown Knoxville, and but I had a baby on the way, and kind of realized that having a restaurant and a baby wasn't going to work out too well for me long term. So I was, at the time, I was working commercial real estate and business brokerage focused on hotels and restaurants. That was in 0809 when the market started to collapse. So I had a side job working for the Knoxville Marriott as a bartender, and working in banquets as a banquet captain, and knew they were looking for a food and beverage manager. So I got back into the hotel side in the food and beverage department. Spent a few years working for the big box hotels around Knoxville, Holiday Inn and Marriott, as a food and beverage director. And then one of my former general managers, called me up and asked me to take on a general manager position for a bank foreclosed property in Sevierville, Tennessee, that Gibson Hotel had been asked to manage. And knowing Mr. Gibson's reputation and knowing the company, it was almost a no brainer for me. To come and work for an organization of this was just such a great opportunity, especially to take a GM role with just my past F&B experience, and to be able to learn more about the industry. So it was a grueling year getting that property back on its feet. It was a bank foreclosed property that needed a lot of work. So I got to be very hands-on all aspects of the hotel. We had to rebuild its online reputation. We had deferred maintenance. We had tons of problems throughout the property. So it was a very successful year, though, and the bank was able to take the hotel and resell it, and I was promoted to take over at one of our flagship properties, the Spring Hill Suites in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where I was GM for. I was there for about 9 months before they started piling some other stuff on top of me. I took on some regional operation roles and started overseeing some other hotels we had in the market while I was still the GM at the Spring Hill. And then from there, Mr. Gibson asked me to come and join his corporate office team as a regional. Over the next few years, I grew from my regional position to vice president of operations, and Eventually, back in 2015, Mr. Gibson gave me my first opportunity to oversee the construction of our new Fairfield Inn in Johnson City, Tennessee. And I kind of caught the bug from there. It was my first taste of hotel development, new construction, and I really enjoyed it. And we did that hotel has been extremely successful for us. So since then, I've worked on about 18 new construction projects with our company. Some of them in-house projects, some of them third-party managed developments. We've done a brand conversion, converting an old Fairfield Gen 1 hotel to a La Quinta. We've done renovations. So a lot of different stuff working here. It's been a great experience. Currently, I've got 4 hotels that we're overseeing construction on, 4 renovations getting ready to start towards the end of the year. We're kind of in that same boat with everybody else with the renovation influx that's coming for everyone right now.
Sure.
And then we've got a very robust pipeline with several more hotels due to start in the next 6 months. So very
Yeah.
excited about the growth in front of us.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that explosive growth in a moment, but just to get back to your story, and I think this is a great piece of advice for young hotel professionals right now is to listen to Joe's story, and I'm sure you could attest now, Joe, with that year that you that general manager and the challenges that you had, probably one of the biggest learning opportunities I would imagine, and taught you a lot, especially even where you are today with development. I mean, that is not right now with construction timelines, everything that you have to get through. I'm sure there's a lot of challenges within that, but just that year probably just taught you a lot about kind of pushing through. And for those young professionals out there that get an opportunity like that, it might seem like, man, why are they putting me in this property over here? But that is such an opportunity for you to learn and could serve you way, way down the line in your career. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. The things I learned, I mean, the things I learned during that year overseeing that property and all of the the fact that you just had to touch every piece of the hotel. If you go into a brand new Marriott property or Hilton property that was built in the last 3 years and doesn't have any issues, you're never going to understand all the different components that go into making that the asset, the operation, everything a success there. So, and it served me really well on the development side. So, coming up in operations, um, I use that knowledge every day in the new hotels that we open. I go into a project thinking about why and how we're going to use certain things when we're building them and whether or not we have the most efficient layout in some areas. Does this make sense for where we are putting the offices or how we're setting up the laundry system? What are the challenges that hourly associate's going to be facing 2-3 years from now because of the decisions that we make now? So
Yeah.
seeing that and being there firsthand and seeing other people's mistakes and what they did wrong and being able to learn from those, it's a very important step in any young hotelier's growth. So I would say take those disaster hotels, take on some of those challenges. It's a lot of hard work, but it's worth it in the end for what you learn from that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And here you sit again with a portfolio of over 30 hotels. Your Gibson has seen some explosive growth over the last decade to its journey to where it is today, one of the top hotel management companies in our industry. What do you attribute your team's success to, Joe? I know you've been with the organization for a while, and why has it allowed it to grow so rapidly in a time where not a lot of management companies have had this type of explosive growth that Gibson's been able to enjoy?
Sure, sure. Well, number one, I mean, our staff, and it's 100% comes down to the people that are out there every day taking care of our assets, taking care of our guests. Without them, we never would have been able to grow as quickly as we have in the past 10 years. And Mr. Gibson always insists on the importance that we're always hiring the right people for the right position. Our corporate office is a prime example of that. Everyone who works in our corporate office, well, nearly everyone who works in our corporate office, has worked in an hourly or management position in hotels and restaurants. So they bring that past experience and those perspectives to their current positions. Kind of like we were talking about everything that I learned at the hotel that I spent a year at. Those those experiences they have and those line level positions where they were in the field previously in their careers, it impacts them no matter what discipline that is, whether they're in accounting or human resources or revenue management. They have a little more empathy for the people that are on the front lines and understand what they're going through. We're a small company. We're not very top heavy. We try not to be overly demanding on our staff as far as paperwork and things like that. And we want them to be out there taking care of the guests. We don't want our GMs behind the desk sitting there doing forms and filling out Excel spreadsheets. If they're not in front of our guests, then our hotels are not successful. And the way that we grow and the way that we continue to do other hotels is to run the hotels that we have successfully, to operate great hotels for those owners, and to be able to give them good returns on their assets by having repeat customers and taking care of those guests that come in. The old adage, take care of your employees, they'll take care of your guests, they'll take care of your guests will come back. That's it's as true today as ever. It's the most important part. So really our staff is probably one of the most important reasons we've been able to grow as much as we have. And, we have a very low turnover within our company, and we believe very strongly in succession planning and growth from within. So, we have many success stories in our companies where, I can remember maintenance engineers that ended up being general managers in our companies, and executive or housekeepers that worked their way up to assistant executive and then into a GM position. So, that internal growth and that ability to retain staff and to have the people out there in the field to operate these properties when we open them and when we take over new assets. We love having a flying squad, our group of people that go out for when we do an acquisition or a takeover, and they're experts in their field, and they go out and they do great things, and it's kind of a privilege for our team members out in the field to get to participate in those things. So they're a huge part of our success. Being able to take those employees from hourly positions to management. But as much as we've grown, we still always maintain a very personal approach with our hotels and our staff and our owners. We love being out in the field with our hotels and helping our team and our operations team. We make sure our operations team is at the property every month, no matter what. So at the end of the month, when the financials come out, our operations team gets to the property and does a full property review with our general manager and our management teams. We walk the properties, we review all your KPIs. We go through the financials, we go through the guest service scores. We walk through the kitchen. We check to make sure the hotel is being run properly, that it's clean, that there's no deferred maintenance, that everything is being run the way it should be, the way we would expect it to be run if we were coming in as a guest. And that makes a huge difference too in our success. And our owners see that. Our owners see that in their returns. They see it in the awards that we win for them. Whether it's a Torchbearer Award or a platinum award from Marriott. It's a tribute to the properties that we run. But the other reason and the other true inspiration for all our success I would definitely say would be Mr. Gibson. It's just a little different when you work for a true leader like Mr. Gibson that has really a passion for the industry and drives our team to do better every day. He has so much hospitality knowledge that he shares with us all the time, and he's just a great mentor for all the people around our office. And he makes us do better for our guests, our staff, our owners, our company. And working for a company like this and an owner like Mr. Gibson, it allows us to be a little more flexible as a company. So we get to be a little choosy with who we work with. We're not, we have grown explosively, and we could probably be double the size that we are right now if we were willing to take on some hotels and some other opportunities that really just weren't right for us as a company and didn't fit with our culture. So
Sure.
that's also one of the benefits of the way we're able to grow. We're able to focus in on strategic growth that makes the most sense, both for our company, for those owners too. We've had candid conversations with owners that wanted to hire us, but it didn't make sense. The revenues weren't there. The hotels couldn't support a third party management with the systems that we bring in to run a hotel properly, partners like TMG and the other services. So, we're very strategic. We don't just want to be another company like the big guys out there that have 250 hotels and maybe they see them once a year. We want to be very hands-on, and we want to grow and scale as our portfolio grows.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Growth doesn't necessarily equal strategic growth, right? And picking the right owners to work with, making sure that you can still instill that high touch culture that you're talking about over there, Joe, to make sure that the projects that you are working on maintain the standard of your brand, which is super important. And a trend that we see in a lot of these hospitality trailblazers that we interview here, and we can attest to the success because you've got some really exciting. You and your team have been really busy over there, Joe, because you got some exciting developments, new properties being just open. We've seen some press releases out there about some new properties being open, new partnerships, which I'm personally really excited about. Can you expand on some of these opportunities right now on the development side of Gibson?
Sure, be happy to. So in the past, our portfolio has been predominantly select and extended stay products. We do have had some full service products in the past and still do, but and Mr. Gibson and I always kind of had a passion for those bigger full service hotels, restaurants, the food and beverage operations that go along with them. It's what we grew up in. It's what we're used to. It's ingrained in us. So that's where our focus is right now on our growth, is on the full service side. Don't get me wrong. We've always had a robust pipeline of select and extended stay properties, and we still do. But we've been recently working on a lot of really exciting projects. We have a new partnership we're working on with Sports Illustrated Hotels and Resorts. We're working on several new Compass by Margaritaville locations. We have a couple of deals that we're partnering with Travel and Leisure on right now through our relationships with Margaritaville and Sports Illustrated. And we're also starting to work with some more boutique and soft brand hotels, we hope, in the future. So that's definitely a trajectory that we feel our company needs to take. And, it's really a passion for me and Mr. Gibson. It's what we enjoy and we love doing. So Sports Illustrated has been really exciting for us. It's been a lot of fun working with those guys and getting to work on a new and emerging brand that has so much potential, especially in today's market where clients are really seeking more experiential stays, more adventure, something a little different than you get from the typical Hilton and Marriott hotels.
Sure.
So the potential for a brand like that, we feel, is limitless. They're backed with so much history and legacy. They have tons of potential verticals that you can explore with a brand that has that experiential piece to it, whether it's resorts or beach clubs or ski retreats. But what we've been really most excited about and see the most potential in is on the Sports Illustrated University hotel model, and that's what we've been working really strongly at. We're located here in Knoxville, where we've got our Tennessee Vols right down the road and Neyland Stadium. So we're working with Travel and Leisure and the Sports Illustrated group, and we've been very, very honored to be able to collaborate on the new Sports Illustrated that's being developed down at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That'll be the first Sports Illustrated in the country. There's one currently down in Cap Cana in the Dominican Republic. So, but this will be along with the university model, and it's part of a large mixed-use campus that includes condos and timeshares, the hotel, some restaurants, some retail, and entertainment. So that's been a very, very exciting project to work on, and just that being able to have that collaboration with the Travel and Leisure team and Sports Illustrated, it's just been incredible. And this is just the first one, but with all the potential on these projects, we see a lot of great future in the other developments that can come from this in different markets that we're in already, and markets we've been looking to get into for some time.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, you're talking to someone that as a kid would wait for that Sports Illustrated magazine to come through. So as soon as I saw that Sports Illustrated press release come through that news feed, I'm right on board. And what a place to start in Tuscaloosa. I don't know if those Tennessee Vol fans are excited about that, but hopefully we see a lot of expansion there. But really exciting projects on that end. But let's get into location. You guys, Gibson has a massive footprint in the Southeast, specifically Tennessee, where you're located, where your corporate headquarters are in Knoxville. What do you like about this market, and where do you see opportunity?
Sure. Well, this really goes back to being a hands-on company, but it's definitely worked in our favor. We love the Southeast, and there's nothing quite like Southern hospitality. I'm originally from New York, but I've been in Knoxville since 1990, and I love it here. I'm raising my family here, and no plans on moving anytime soon. But many of the markets that we're in, and the markets in the Southeast have just seen tremendous growth in the last 10 years, and it's been wonderful to be able to be a part of that growth and to be able to add more hotels into these markets. As they grow, we grow. Pigeon Forge is a prime example.
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Gibson was one of the first hoteliers to see the potential to bring a branded product like a Marriott into the Pigeon Forge market that was saturated with just mom and pops and independent hotels for the most part. Back 15 years ago, he had to go and convince Marriott that their product would work in this kind of market. And now, if you look around, it's just exploded. Every brand is up there already with more to come, and even ones that we're still developing there. Our Residence Inn in Pigeon Forge actually won Opening Hotel of the Year from Marriott last year. So, for us, it's important that we're in these markets, so we recognize who's coming to the market and we give them what they want. We don't try and educate our consumer. We give the consumers what they want, especially in these leisure markets, whether that's the beach entry pool and the bubblers and the splash pad to create more of a resort experience for the kids. Making sure that we've got one of the best in class complimentary breakfasts that go along with our products in the select service markets, and just making sure that we have hotels that just continue to wow guests. That way, when they do come back, they're repeat customers. They're always, when they come back to the Pigeon Forge market, we know that they're gonna come back and they're gonna stay at our Spring Hill or our Residence Inn that's up in that location. But for us, it's much easier to do that and to recognize those customers right here in our own backyard than it is for us to go to Colorado or Texas. I mean, sure, we have the ability, and we have in the past. We've had third-party management contracts in Texas and other states that were probably a bit too far for us at the time, and we hadn't really scaled up enough to be able to manage those hotel property properly. But we recognized that, and we had a candid conversation with the owner. We helped them find a company that was more apt to run that asset for them, and it was the right decision for everyone at the time. We're not, like I said before, we're not looking to grow in ways that doesn't make sense for our company.
Sure.
But now, as we look to the future and we're looking for other opportunities, and we continue to expand beyond the Southeast, Mr. Gibson's bought a small plane that the company has the ability to use, which has definitely helped us out a lot. It's a huge time saver for our team to be able to get to a property that used to take a 6-hour drive, and now we can be there in about 2 hours. It makes a huge difference in our team's ability to get outside and a little further from where we normally operate. And ultimately, though, this is our home, and we know these markets, and we're going to continue to expand. We're moving towards further into the Midwest and the Northeast, but we're going to do it strategically, like we've done our other growth. We don't want to just jump off the handle and go open a hotel in California for the fun of it, because it's just not worth it for us. It doesn't make any sense for us to operate on a 3-hour time zone difference in a market we're just not as familiar with. So
It all comes back to that strategic growth that we were talking about. And, it sounds like you have some incredible white glove service with your staff and your on site team members. So if it doesn't make sense to take a property, that's again led to the success, and it's actually been recognized. Gibson Hospitality has earned numerous recognitions, almost every brand on your website I'm seeing, but including being that 4-time winner of Marriott's prestigious Partnership Circle Award. What do these recognitions mean to you, and how have you been able to leverage them to again grow Gibson as a top tier hospitality management company?
So yes, it's amazing to see our company win these awards, and to be recognized by companies like Marriott for Partnership Circle Award, or with our Platinum and Gold Circle Award winning hotels, with the Torchbearer Awards that we have. But also, it's amazing to see the internal recognitions. We have staff within our company that routinely wins local awards in the market, like our Poly Awards here in Knoxville with the Greater Knoxville Hotel Association. And just to be able to hire and to grow these employees and to see their career expand and to see them win these awards and be part of the hotels winning these awards is just a tremendous experience for us. And it's also great for our reputation. It definitely does help our reputation as a natural reaction to seeing us win these awards and the accolades at the Marriott conferences, and to see our name up on the big screen. But really, our reputation is more from the way we operate our hotels for our owners, and how we pride ourselves on taking care of those assets and running the best in class products.
Yeah, I like what you said there, Joe, about, we don't run hotels to win awards. You run hotels and then hopefully get recognized by awards, and that kind of be the thing that tells you that you're doing a good job, right? Hearing guests, giving you online reviews, hearing things on social media, praising, and then hopefully those awards come, and really, really cool. And I'm sure it helps with staffing as well, right? I mean, we're all competitive people in the world. Staff wants to work with the best. So
Everyone
if
wants
you're
to be
out
on
there,
the winning team.
exactly. So if you're out there winning awards, I'm sure that you're going to win that candidate too. And saying, hey, I want to be on this team. So, but outside of that, like you said, Gibson does a lot. It has an entire section dedicated to its website to social responsibility and all the incredible causes, organizations that your team supports. Can you share any inspiring stories and maybe why this was a priority for your organization and Mr. Gibson?
Sure. Yeah. This definitely comes from the top down. Mr. Gibson has always been a very strong supporter of a lot of the causes and the organizations that you're referring to. I'd say most importantly, one of the ones that I want to point out would probably be his work with the Tennessee Hospitality Association and the Education Foundation. It's something that we're all very proud of, and an incredible program providing scholarships. I think, if I remember correctly, I think they gave away about $1 million last year in scholarships to
It's amazing.
emerging hospitality talent. Our team loves to participate in the Pro Start event that we do here in Tennessee. That's a hospitality event where students from local high schools come in and put together restaurant concepts and do culinary events. And we have all of our corporate staff loves to go over there and judge the competitions and work with the young high school students that are looking to get into careers in hospitality. It's just something that's very close to our heart and something that's very important to us. And it's also, it's our future. These are the people that are going to be working for us down the road. They're going to be, the people that we're judging at these competitions that are in high school now, 2 or 3 years from now, are going to be working at our front desk or doing our breakfast service or, bartending in our hotels. So, it's important that we give them the best leg up that we can right now, especially in going into this industry as we face so many challenging time from staffing and other issues that are coming up. So, we feel supporting the young hoteliers and the people that are interested in this profession is very, very important to us. Additionally, we like to get out and participate with local charities. Our corporate office does quarterly charity events with Second Harvest Food Bank, or going out to clean up local nature parks and things like that. We just feel it's very important that we give back to our community, and we also instill that in our hotels. Whether it's Fairfield and their partnership with Habitat for Humanity, and encouraging our teams at our Fairfields to follow along with what the brand's direction is and how important it is to support those organizations. Or our early adoption of programs like Clean the World that we implemented back when they were first emerging back in 2012. And we saw the potential to take unused bars of soap and things like that, and have it be recycled and upcycled to third world countries where it could benefit and help people. So we just all feel it's important that we give back, but really that stems a lot from the top down, and Mr. Gibson's commitment to the community and to furthering education and the young hoteliers that are emerging. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we got a whole series dedicated to, hospitality campus crawl, where we go to these hospitality campuses and talk to administrators about, the next generation of hotel professionals, right? And, this is something that's very important to them, is feeling a part of something, seeing your organization be involved in charitable causes, so they feel like they're doing, that they feel a part of something. You definitely ahead of the trend there. And I'm sure, again, it's definitely helping with staffing when you're talking to young professionals about the opportunities that you have to contribute to really important causes like that. So thank you, Joe, to you and your team for doing that. You alluded to it earlier, Travel Media Group, proud partner of Gibson Hospitality Ventures for quite a while. And, since the beginning, we really recognized the importance and priority that you put to having a strong online presence and reputation, something that obviously, as a hotel marketing podcast, we preach all the time, right? Of having a really strong digital impression. Why is having that strategic digital marketing so critical for hotel management companies today and connecting with owners, investors, and guests?
Sure. Well, I mean, as you know, with most owners and investors, just to be blunt, it's usually about top line revenue and bottom line profit, and so it's always important that we find a digital strategy that works both for the property and that the ownership group will sign off on. So not all hotels have the same budget to work with, and not all digital marketing spend is the same across all of our different hotels. And when you operate a variety of extended stay, select, and full service properties, not all strategies can be the same. So it's important that we craft solutions for each property individual, and we work with the owners and the investors in those hotels to determine what their priorities are, and explain to them, the benefits of using partners like yourself, or the disadvantages if they choose to go a different direction and not spend those dollars. So, obviously today everyone's booking online through the various channels, but all those same people aren't just looking at your presence in one place. They may start on brand.com or hotels.com, but they're gonna look at your social media presence. They're gonna look at your reviews across the web, and it's important that you showcase and tell a story of what your hotel has to offer, but it's also important that that message is consistent across all your channels in order to be successful. So, at Gibson, we really appreciate our partnership with Travel Media Group to help manage that online reputation on a daily basis. We look at our guest feedback and what our guests are saying about us and our competitors, and that gives us a competitive advantage over a lot of the other management companies out there having partnerships with teams like yours. And it's also important that we work with the brands to funnel more traffic through brand.com, through various promotions, and through our online and digital media strategy. So, when you look at the spend that companies like Expedia and hotels.com have to try and get you to book your property on their site and take their piece of the pie, it's important that we're very strategic with how we spend our dollars. We know we can't compete with them, but if we're doing the right things and we're being strategic about how we spend our money, we can definitely push that traffic more toward the direct channels and help improve overall bottom line for those owners and investors. And that's where we see the true return, being able to just to take care of those assets and to continue to maintain highly profitable hotels for our owners. So that way down the road, when they're ready to build the next one, we're the first people that they call. So, very important to us that, like any hotel organization, all those gears need to be running in synchrony. They all rely on each other. So if we don't have the correct digital marketing presence and the correct team working on our digital marketing, then our revenues are going to fall, our profits are going to fall, our owners aren't going to be happy with us, and it's just a cascading effect from there. So
Yeah, certainly a snowball effect. And, it is about it effectively, telling your story online, right? And for as much effort as we put on the operation side and, service and experiences that we're trying to create and memorable experiences that we're trying to create for our guests, if for some reason that's not perceived online, that can get lost. And that's a scary thought for a lot of hotels, of putting so much effort and energy to the on-site operations and that story just not being told. Can't wait to see and hear the story being told with those Sports Illustrated hotels. I'm sure you won't have to search very hard for some good social media content. So let me know when those are up. We'll make sure to give it a follow. Now, one of the lines on, from Gibson's mission online reads, fostering professional growth for our team members. We talked about it on this episode. We talked about it in past episodes. It's kind of every other news article seems about hospitality is talking about the staffing shortage and labor shortage we have in hospitality right now. What creative ways have you been able to combat in this headwind and use the words of your mission for recruiting and retention?
Sure. I wouldn't say it's really creative, unfortunately, but I mean, it's getting back to the basics, and the most important thing that you have to deal with in today's market with the staffing shortages and everything that we're facing. The key comes down to staff retention. So I would say the most important thing for us when it comes to dealing with the current staff shortage, it has to be our staff retention. It's been critical for us to be able to deal with the current situation with the labor market. Our For us, having a very low turnover ratio and being able to promote those staff members from within, to continue to encourage them to grow their career and to grow their career within the Gibson organization, that's really been the key for us. Back when I was a GM, I used to always say that the best employees that you have are going to be the ones that your other employees bring to your staff, because they're not going to bring somebody on who's going to bring the whole team down. They're going to want staff members that are going to be there to work just as hard as they are, and to make sure that the job gets done on time. So, really that staff retention, utilizing your internal staff and their networks to continue to grow your staff is very important. But promoting from within, that's really always been a huge key for us when it comes to dealing with the shortages that we have in the industry, and being able to maintain solid management and leadership teams. Unfortunately, the hourly staff, there's turnover there like anywhere else, and you're going to have it. But if you can retain your management staff and your key team members and your leadership team, and keep that culture alive at your hotel, and be able to have people who are able to train the new people coming in and teach them properly on the way to do things. Too often we turn over staff and we just throw people into the wolves and don't provide enough training to them. We feel as an organization that it's very important that our team gets the proper training. That staff member's a lot more likely to stay if they have comfort and are acclimated with the position they're in, before you stick them out there on a 4 to 11 shift by themselves with no help and 100 check-ins. So,
Right. Well, and more likely to also come back. There's a lot of the staff members out there that might jump at the opportunity to go to another hotel. But if you gave them the proper foundation and training, there's a chance that they might come back to you and serve you better in their next time around. Those boomerang employees that we talk about all the time. time, and you got a lot of stuff working for you over there, right? You've got opportunity with a lot of stuff in the development pipeline, and you got already a lot of stories of people, even like yourself, Joe, that have started one place and ended up, you were talking about all those corporate members, starting at the line level or on property, and making their way somewhere else. That showing and illustrating a path to growth is going to be absolutely crucial right now during this. And it seems like you guys have done a great job of that. I would also say the social media side of things, just like guests are going to be trying to hear that story and figure out what it's like on your property. I've talked about it on this podcast. This younger generation, they're doing the same thing on looking on the employee side. Okay. What does a day in the life look for me? Look at this fantastic pool. Look, they're recognizing some of their staff members on social media. That could be me in a couple of months if I do my job right. So, these are all ways that I think, obviously you've been able to leverage, but a lot of hoteliers to be on the lookout for, and make sure that first of all, if you had an organization, you've got those stories in place and you're sharing them with your employees. But if you're also a hotel employee, ask for the opportunity, get to know that senior leadership team and their hospitality journey. How did they get to where they were? And if they came up through the same organization, that certainly says something and should tell you something there. So covered a lot of ground on this episode, Joe. Thank you so much. We know you're very, very busy over there with all these projects you got that you're juggling. So thank you again for taking the time. Any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
I would just say, we're very grateful for our partnership with you guys at Travel Media Group, and we're very excited about some continued organic growth that we're going to have here at Gibson Hotels. Very selective growth, as we talked about
Sure.
earlier, but we definitely feel that working with the right teams, the right owners, the right investors, the right brands, you're going to see some incredible growth from Gibson Hotels in the next few years within the full service, the boutique, soft, and experiential brands. So look forward to talking to you in the future about some other opportunities that we have and the additional growth we have coming at Gibson Hotels.
Yeah, we're excited. All eyes are on over there. And, it's a very reciprocal feeling. We love working with hotel managements like Gibson Hospitality Ventures that see just such strategic and amazing growth and being part of their story, right? Our success is your success and vice versa. So we're really excited for what you have cooking over there at Gibson Hospitality Ventures. We'll continue to keep an eye on, and hopefully, I can visit one of these new properties here soon, and maybe we'll be doing an episode from one of these Sports Illustrated universities. Fingers crossed. So
Sounds
thank you
great.
so
Look
much.
forward to it. Look forward.
All right. Well, thank you so much for Joe for jumping on the sweet spot. Thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
All right. Thank you, Ryan.